Hi, I'm Connor Botts with Tricky Fast Studios. In this series, we're going to be taking a look at how to make a game very similar to Flappy Bird using Cat Game Builder. By the end of the series, you should have a working Flappy Bird clone that looks like this. When the penguin successfully goes through 2 of the icicles, you get a point. Don't touch the top or bottom of the screen or any obstacles or you lose. In this video, we're going to start by making the bird game object and populating it with cats. So to get started, make a new scene and call it Flappy Penguin. Then go into the Cat Examples folder and underneath Flappy Penguin, Prefabs, and Starting Prefabs, drag all the game objects inside that folder into your new scene. This includes some UI and art assets that are pre-made and ready to use. The first thing we're going to do is rename Starting Bird to just be Bird, and add a new component to it. Type in state and add a state machine to it. A state machine is the base level component that you need to run cats underneath a game object. Without a state machine, cats will not work. Next, we'll add some states to our state machine to keep our cats organized. On this object, we'll have 4 states: idle, ready, playing, and game over. Idle will be when we're on the title screen. Ready will be in between the title screen and when we're about to play the game. Playing will be when we're playing the game. And game over will be for when we lost. Now let's start populating our idle state. The first thing we're going to add is an action list. An action list will let you organize your cats even within your states further. First, let's populate our idle state. The first cat action we're going to add underneath the idle state is a set game gravity action. What this cat does is increases the game's gravity, in our case, to make the penguin fall faster and our game feel better. The next thing we're going to add is an action list. The way you use action lists is you child cats underneath the action list, and then the cats are executed either serially, in parallel, or single randomly, which means any one of them chosen at random. So the first cat we're going to put in our action list is fade screen. We're going to set the fade type to be in, the color to black, the duration to 1, and any one of these curves will do. The reason that we want our fade screen action first in our serial action list is because that way no other actions will run until our fade screen action is done executing. The next thing we're going to add after this fade screen action is a UI button trigger. When you add the trigger, it'll also automatically add the triggered action that you need that corresponds with every trigger or condition. We can uncheck all the parameters, and instead of the target being the owner, we're going to set the target to be the start button. And then we're going to add another action list and put it next to our trigger. What this will do is make it so that whenever we press our start button, any actions underneath this action list next to the trigger are executed. We're now going to add the following actions, which are a play sound action, a fade screen action, a set enabled action, and finally a change state action. In the play sound action, we're going to set the target to be a game object called UI click. You can find this game object underneath audio and UI. We don't need to specify any clip for this because underneath UI click, there's an audio source with a clip already specified. You can specify a clip there to override the clip, but in our case, we're going to use that clip, so we don't need to specify any clip. All other parameters are okay too. Next, in the fade screen action, we're going to fade out over a duration of 1 second using a regular curve again. And then in the set enabled action, we're going to set the target to be the start button. And we're going to leave it is enabled unchecked, and this will disable our start button game object. And then in the change state action, we're going to leave the target to be our owner, so that way it targets our bird state machine, and then change the next state to the ready state. Next, let's populate the ready state. The first thing we're going to put underneath the ready state is another action list. And then underneath that action list, we're going to add a set bool animation parameter action. This cat allows us to set an animation parameter inside an animation controller. We're going to set the target game object to be whatever object has the animation controller childed under it. And in this case, that's the penguin game object. The easiest way to target this game object is to leave the target on owner, and then in the options menu, enable path and type in penguin. What this does is this goes to the bird game object, as that's the owner, and then it paths down in the hierarchy to penguin. Next, we have to specify the parameter name, which in this case is ready, and we're going to set the value to true. This will set our penguin's animation to be in the ready state. The next thing we're going to do is change the title text to be the instructions text. We'll do that with a set UI text action. The target is going to be a game object called score text. The body should say, press space to flap. Those are all the actions we need for setting up the ready state. Next, we can fade the screen in with the fade screen action. Now we're at a good point to test our game. But before we do, we need to do a few things. The first thing we need to do is go into Background UI, and where it says Render Camera, if your camera says None, change it to be Main Camera. This will bring our penguin out from behind the background into the foreground. The next thing you need to check is that your bird state machine, make sure the initial state is set to idle. Then play your game. Hit the start button and watch the screen fade out and your penguin fade back in. You should now have the idle state and most of the ready state done for the bird in this Flappy Bird clone. In this video, we went over state machines, states, setting the game gravity, fading the screen, and applying triggers to buttons. I hope you found this video informative and useful. For more information on CAT and how it can help you prototype and build games faster, please visit trickyfast.com/cat. My name is Connor Botts with Tricky Fast Studios, and thanks for watching.